Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Wall Township Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, April 26, 2022. Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Smythe, could we have sunshine statement and roll call, please?
Yes, this is Wall Township Board of Education meeting for which adequate notice under the Open Public Meeting Act was provided by notice to the Co-Star on April 21, 2022. Written notice to the Asbury Park Press, Township Clerk's Office, all Wall Township Public Schools, and a posting in the Board Administration Office on April 14, 2022. Take a roll call. Mr. Buffer.
Here.
Mr. Hall.
Here.
Ms. Hobbit.
Here.
Mr. Maliff.
Here.
Mr. Nasser.
Here.
Mr. Sanfilippo.
Here.
Ms. Stites.
Here.
Mr. Wondrak. And Mr. Adnesi.
Here. Okay. At this time, could I have a motion to go into executive session for letters A, D, G, and H on the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Motion, Mr. Sanfilippo. Could I second?
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Hodnett. Any questions, discussion? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye. Okay. We will be back at approximately 6:15 p.m.
Reconvening in public session at 7:30 p.m.
Good evening. I'd like to reconvene the Wall Township Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, April 26, 2022. Mr. Smythe, could we have roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Buffer,
Here.
Mr. Hall,
Here.
Ms. Hodnett,
Here.
Mr. Maliff,
Here.
Mr. Nasser,
Here.
Mr. Sanfilippo,
Here.
Ms. Stites,
Here.
Mr. Wondrak, Mr. Adnesi.
Here. All right. All right, so this evening, our student reps unfortunately could not make it, but they did send a little note. Good evening, board. Unfortunately, both of us could not make it tonight due to participation in away athletic events. We look forward to joining the board at the May meeting. Hopefully, they win. Wish them lots of luck. All right, we're going to move on. Dr. Handerhan.
Good evening and welcome to the Wall Township Public Schools Public Budget Hearing. When you're planning a budget for a school district, the process truly does take months. And a lot of the work takes place in the Finance and Facilities Committee of the Board of Education. Many, many meetings to get to this where we are today. In addition, throughout the winter months, we host what are called public budget workshop sessions. And it's at these workshop sessions where the entire board, not just the committee, the entire Board of Education is able to work closely with district administrators to work on prioritizing the needs for the students, the needs for our facilities, and the needs for us to operate successfully. And these workshop sessions, the intention is to really have rich dialogue. It's an opportunity to ask a lot of questions. Why is this a priority? And I do hope that many members of the Wall Township Public Schools community had the opportunity to view them online. I know many of you attended live as well. It's a really great process, and we get an awful lot of work done. So if you were not present, I invite you for next year to join us during our winter workshop sessions. And if you have very specific granular questions, you might want to, you might want to revisit, or even just, you're not even sure you have questions. Please visit these tape sessions on our website. So at the March 22nd meeting, that is where the Board of Education approves the tentative budget. At that point, after a lot of months, we get to a point where we have a tentative budget, and there are deadlines to submit. At our business meeting on March 22nd, our Board of Education, they approved the submission, and we were fortunate enough, April 18th, to be notified that our tentative budget was approved. Now, by the New Jersey Department of Education, during this time, there is, there's a lot of work that happens behind the scenes with district administrators, faculty. There's a lot of in the weeds type of activities that does take place to get to the point to where we are now, and that is the date of the required public hearing on the 2022-2023 school budget. And this evening is our public hearing, and there will be an opportunity to comment on the presentation that I'm about to present. A school district's budget is an outgrowth of the district's educational mission, and it's an outgrowth of the strategic plan for the district. A strategic plan serves as a budgetary North Star for school districts. The goal is to link it to the district's plan. Currently, we are in the absence of a strategic plan. We are about to begin this process the first week in May. We have our steering committee meeting with our consultant for the first time. The district secured the assistant of Dr. Timothy Purnell to guide us through the process. And I'm going to take this as a shameless commercial opportunity right now to invite members of our community to serve in various capacities throughout the strategic planning process, which does take months. And we're really excited to kick this off, and please keep your eyes posted. Our website will definitely be advertising a lot, more about our strategic plan and about opportunities, certainly surveys that may be helpful to you. We want to hear from students, parents, employees. We want to hear from community members. So I just want to really, again, use this as a shameless commercial opportunity. But where we're headed is our strategic plan it absolutely will drive future budgets. Now, the themes of this year's budget, here are the priorities. The priorities are, we need to provide our students with a robust curriculum to provide them for their future. We want them to be prepared for any path that they wish to engage upon. It's also, this budget really is about building supports for our students. It's about building academic supports. It's about building supports for social emotional learning. It's about providing psychosocial supports both in the schools and networking with community agencies. Our students in Wall Township, but students in New Jersey, students across the country, students across the world, we're coming out of a difficult time in certainly whether it's public education or private education. So I would be remiss if I did not stress that providing supports for our students is absolutely a priority in next year's budget. Another theme of next year's budget is the optimization of human resources. What does that mean? It means we really need to look at efficiency and see, are we meeting the needs that we have now? What are our needs now? And in many cases, our needs in April 2022 are very different than our needs may have been in February 2020. So this budget is crafted with that lens in mind. Additionally, it is imperative that we focus on investment in technology. The investment, yes, there are devices that are allocated for purchase, student devices, staff devices. However, you will, as Mr. Hyam presented in great detail at one of our workshop sessions, we need to make a significant investment in technology infrastructure. And we're going to talk a little bit about that this evening. In addition, capital improvements. We need to take care of our schools. Our schools, it's where our students learn. It's where our teachers teach, where our councils counsel. It's where our staff works on a day-to-day basis. And we want to make sure that we are providing the best physical environment for them. And this budget also takes into consideration an investment in professional development. It is incumbent upon us as educators to grow, to continue to grow. But what schools are finding, certainly in the last year, we need to start working on additional skill sets because of what our world has been through for the last couple of years. So there is significant investment in professional development as well. The first section I would like to talk about in the budget is curriculum and instruction. Our budget, we have local dollars that are allocated towards curriculum and instruction, but we also have federal and state funding. And we are able, we're able to utilize this funding to really accelerate some of the things that we're doing. We are also using this particular funding to address learning loss, to address mental health needs, to be very specific, to using grant money to fund our summer programs that I have to tell you was probably one of the highlights for me last year, seeing our schools filled with students during the summer months. With respect to budget highlights, and right now I'm going to shift focus to local dollars, and this is specifically our local dollars. We have some major curriculum revisions that are taking place this year. During the altered schedules due to COVID over the last, during the last 2 years, really we did not move forward with some of the curricular planning that we had intended to back in 2019. So we are looking to overhaul our social studies curriculum from kindergarten through 12th grade, our visual and performing arts, also kindergarten through 12th grade, computer science and design thinking. That again is the full continuum of K-12, and world languages K-12. Now, when I say an overhaul, that means that time, a year at least, was used to study what our current practices are and what are new revelations, new best practices. What are exemplar schools doing in these respective areas? What are the new materials? What are the new resources that are available? If there's a revision of standards, how can we respond to them and incorporate them in terms of Wall Township's needs? And we're excited. This summer is going to be really, a curriculum wonderland, for lack of better term, but a lot of exciting things, new materials for our kids, a great investment in new textbook series, in particular for social studies, and lots of materials, and lots of fresh ideas. Now, prior to having a full-blown adoption, there is what's called a program evaluation. During the program evaluation, it's essentially, as a school district, we have teams studying our current practices, and this is where a lot of the behind-the-scenes homework takes place with all of our faculty, staff, and administrators. Next year, we are going to do a deep dive study program evaluation for mathematics, which that will span K-12, and science, which will span 6-12 because right before COVID, we had just implemented the K-5 changes. In terms of curriculum instruction, once again, we're going to be planning and implementing a district-wide professional development day. We are going to expand our new staff orientations during the summer months. And you may or may not be aware, but we also have orientation throughout the school year. And we're looking to expand that practice. We also have literacy initiatives that will be built upon in the upcoming school year, and some of that is rooted in some of the grant funding. You may recall that there was we had some really nice articles, and it was on our website. We had many of our teachers in the elementary grades were trained in Orton Gillingham. That opportunity will exist again this summer through grant funds, and we're looking to expand that and really increase our our instructional arsenal so that we can do an awesome job reaching each and every student. And we are going to continue our work with retention strategies in mathematics, and that's across the K-12 continuum. So this is really rooted in professional development and self-evaluation to see how we can improve our pedagogy in mathematics specifically. I would be remiss if I did not share with you that mental health, both through grant funds and local funds, is a priority in this budget and certainly within the curriculum and instruction. We want to make sure that we're equipping kids certainly with some of the skills that we can teach in schools. We want to be able to support families, and to help them as best as we can. And we want to increase awareness. One of the things that the district is working on right now is a Lifelines curriculum, and it's a evidence-based curriculum designed to save lives. And it's rooted. Its genesis is rooted in suicide prevention and postvention, but the practices really transcend suicide and are applicable to so many areas of struggle for our kids. I would be, again, remiss if I did not mention special services when I discuss curriculum and instruction. Special education requires specialized training. It requires specialized supports, specialized materials, and oftentimes specialized equipment and technologies. And of course, these items are an absolute priority in the budget. Also, special education, many students need an extended school year, so the budget supports these learning needs as well. Crisis prevention is something that in special services and mental health that we are continually looking to build upon. We want to make sure that we are meeting our kids' needs and we're able to respond appropriately, when things come to our attention. And that's something that this staff, this administration and certainly the board is incredibly, it sees it as an incredible priority. In addition, in these accounts for special services, nursing services, nursing materials, home instruction for students that are homebound. There are students that may not be well enough to attend school per their doctor, but we need to provide home instruction for these students, and we do so, and it's reflected in our budget. We also, in some cases, the extensive special education programming that we have for our special needs students, it may not be the program that they need. And in those cases, we do need to send our students out of district so that we can best meet their learning needs. and tuition for these out-of-district placements is included in this year's budget too. It's always a goal to, to try to, keep the students in their home school, and we're continually working on that. But the goal is, the overarching goal is to provide the students with the educational program that they need I mentioned a little bit about technology specifically before. We need to invest in a technology infrastructure that is secure, it's resilient, and it's adaptable to really an ever-changing climate. That is what we must do. Again, if you saw one of the workshop sessions, you'll see that many items are at end of life as far as technology, so we truly need to earmark monies that are sustainable so that we can keep up to date and refreshing our technologies, because I'm certainly, this audience this evening, they know technology continually, it upgrades and it upgrades. Cybersecurity and physical security are certainly a priority of the technology budget, and also data backup, making sure that we are able to back up our data. School districts, there's student data, there's personnel data, so to keep that safe is an absolute priority for the school district. We are looking to fund new wireless access points throughout the district, and also to invest in wireless screen mirroring for the educational experience for our students and staff. We are also looking to start replacing student devices. And I want to underscore the word start. Start. We recognize, the board recognizes, the administration, our faculty and staff recognize that technology changes. We need to be able to create really a sustainable funding system so that we can continually replace technology on, nothing longer than a 5-year cycle. So monies have been earmarked and allocated so that we can begin this replenishment fund. And this is something where this time next year, you'll see me talk about the sustainability of a replacement schedule for our technology devices and ultimately our infrastructure. I am also excited to share with you that we've had several communication system upgrades this year, and we're going to expand upon that moving forward. And we are really excited. And again, here's a bit of a spoiler alert. We're looking to launch a new district website and district and school websites for the district on next year's budget. So we're super excited about that. Some highlights with respect to personnel. I mentioned really optimizing human resources in one of my opening slides. The goal is to maximize the efficiency in personnel. That was our goal going into this year's budget. We made great strides, I think, in this direction, and we were able to do so without the elimination of current programs. We added 6.5 positions to this budget, but at the same time, due to deep dives and working together, we were able to eliminate 28.7 positions. So this year's budget reflects a net decrease of 22.2 positions. Our total budgeted salary increase is, for next year's budget, 1.3%. And that is partially due to almost $1 million in personnel optimization. So we were able to realize some increased efficiency in really how classes are scheduled, how, operational personnel is utilized. So we were able to accomplish that without eliminating any particular programs. And this budget anticipates a benefits increase of 4.9%. We have certainly the goal with the decrease in positions is to achieve as many as possible through attrition and restructuring. And we are currently working on the specifics of the personnel decrease as we speak. I would also like to discuss capital improvements. Many of you, especially those of you that may be watching meetings that are on our YouTube channel or have attended board meetings, you may be aware that we have been spending a great deal of time really preparing to go out to referendum in the future. And when you go out for a referendum, many educational projects are able to be funded up to 40% from the state of New Jersey. And not every project in a school district will be eligible for this funding. It is critical that we identify the projects that are eligible for the most amount of funding from the state of New Jersey as possible, because that gives us more money to work with to improve our facilities for our students. And it's also incumbent upon us to do that so we can start looking at projects that would not be funded by, that would not be eligible for up to a 40% match. And so we identified projects, but we also, through a long-range facility plan and a lot of visiting the buildings on the part of the board administration, a lot of input from administration and staff, we identified really a key project that really we need to tend to, and we had to prioritize. And a major capital project for next year is paving our parking lots. In particular, you probably parked there this evening. One of the parking lots that are earmarked to be repaved, and that is the student parking lot on the west side of Wall High School. That parking lot was identified certainly as one in need, and paving is not eligible for any match or any funding during a referendum from the the state of New Jersey. In addition, Allenwood parking, one of the parking lots in Allenwood certainly was elevated as far as priority for paving next year. In addition, monies have been set aside to replace floor tile, carpet flooring, and carpeting throughout the schools throughout the district. So monies have been allocated towards that, and there are many smaller projects that we budget for, but we also have to budget to some extent for the unexpected. So monies have been allocated as such. When you construct a school district budget, there are a couple ways that you look at it. And one is you look at it by the appropriation by program. And what does that mean? It's really categories. Regular instruction is a category. Support services is another category. So as you can see with the chart, we have 3 years of breakdowns for you. And if you were unable to get a handout, if we ran out of handouts, this will all be posted on our website tomorrow. So if you do not get a handout, we will be able to provide it with you. But as you can see in the red circle, this budget, next year's, the proposed budget for next year is $82,200,000. And as you can see, the dollars and also the percentage of the budget is available for you to see over over the 3 years. And will note the change and the percent change. The next slide presents the same data, but just visually in a different way. It's a circle graph. I was a math teacher. They make me happy, so I like the circle graphs. And it gives you a nice visual representation on how the monies are being spent, which pieces are getting the biggest piece of pie, if you will, out of the district budget. And you'll see that regular instruction receives 28%, 11% is allocated towards technology, 10% towards support services. So this is just another way to look at the allocations. Now, another way to look at a school budget is we've looked at it through appropriation by program, but another angle is the appropriation by function. And that is by, and you'll see also a three-year comparison. This is the breakdown on how much of the budget is being spent on salaries, how much is being spent on benefits. Purchase services and professional technical services is another category. And you will note supplies and materials on the slide. So it's another way to look at, from a percentage base, on how the district is spending the money. Now, school districts receive money from various sources, and in Wall Township's case, it is very much the majority of our budget is funded by the local tax levy. And as you can see, we're looking at a 2% change, and again, the total picture is $82,200,000. And as you can see, there's a breakdown. The vast majority of the funding comes from our local taxpayers. We do have, certainly, we have state aid, we have federal aid that becomes part of our budget. I was very happy to see this year that we actually had an increase in state aid this year. So some districts did experience, cuts. We did not. We were one of the lucky ones to experience an increase in state funding. And as you can see, there is that is the typical breakdown on how the budget is really the revenue sources of where the monies come from. Now, I just mentioned the 2%. This is the tax impact. The budget that is being presented to you this evening has a tax impact of 2%. There are some illustrations up there with with various assessments. The average home in Wall Township is assessed at $486,800. And with the 2%, the 2% tax impact, that translates into an annual increase of $18. So we were able to maintain our programs and keep the budget to 2%, the tax impact to 2%. We will certainly be able to illuminate with some more detail. I'm going to ask our business administrator, Mr. Brian Smythe, to expand upon some of the areas that he wishes to expand upon. But I do, before I close this highlight presentation, I very much would like to invite you to our district's YouTube channel, and it is accessible through our website, so that you can find out more detailed budget information, and you can understand the process, and you can hear the dialogue that happens in order for us to build the budget that best meets the needs of this particular school district. On February 22nd, that budget workshop, that was an overview of our state and federal grants and how the monies were used to date, and an overview of personnel. On March 8th, curriculum and instruction was a focus, as well as special services. And on April 12th, a deeper dive into personnel, including staffing, and how staffing is calculated. And you may be familiar with FTEs, full-time equivalencies. That is explained in that particular video. And technology, the specifics of our technology plan for next year, and capital projects and operations. So I thank you for your time this evening as I provided some of the highlights of this year's budget. And at this moment, I am going to invite Mr. Smythe to shed some light on some of the things he wished to expand upon.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hanrahan. Although I think you pretty much covered it all, I will only point out overall from the beginning of this process, and it was reported on that we had a deficit of $6 million of trying to balance the budget, and the way that was accomplished was reducing appropriations by $2 million and increasing the revenues by $4 million, and those are approximate numbers. But as Dr. Hanrahan indicated, we stayed within the allowable 2% increase in the tax levy. The district had the ability, the board had the ability of using bank cap in the amount of over $800,000. It was the board's decision to not utilize that bank cap to balance the budget, to find other means to do that. That bank cap, or that availability of increasing the tax levy, will expire with this budget being approved, so it will not be available in future years. However, in doing so, in balancing the budget, the board relied on utilizing its surplus that was allowed to be expanded or increased with the pandemic. We utilized a portion of that to balance the budget, as well as drawdowns or withdrawals from our reserve accounts. We have a capital reserve account, a maintenance reserve account, and an emergency reserve account. We utilized all three to balance this budget. The capital reserve account was used to fund 100% of the capital projects in this year's budget. We typically want to fund our capital projects, some portion of them, if not all of them, from the annual revenues. However, again, to balance the budget, that is being funded 100% from the reserve account. Our required maintenance accounts, or the funds that we budget for required maintenance in the district, is being mostly funded by a withdrawal from the maintenance reserve account. And as we have discussed every year, when we have the ability to put funds from our personal benefit accounts into our emergency reserve account, we utilize those funds to offset increases in the health benefit line account, and that's one of the permissible uses of the emergency reserve account. So just a general overview on how we started the process and how we went about balancing the budget, and to ensure that we stayed within the 2%, what funds were used to fund the appropriations that are included in the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smythe. Dr. Hinderhan, did you have anything else?
I do, but I was wondering if any of the board members wanted to add anything.
Any board members have questions, comments?
Okay, so then in closing, I just wanted to thank all of those who also support the district financially. There is so much that goes on behind the behind the scenes, where our students are supported through our parent groups. They do so much to support our schools, and I will certainly speak for myself. I'm incredibly grateful. As the school year started to become a little more like a typical school year, I started to see, some of the special things that make Wall Township Wall Township. So, and so much of that, comes from our parents and comes from our foundations. And I also it's, there's the money that, certainly funds, but it's the people. The people aren't on the budget slides that, the faces aren't there that work with the kids every single day. So I just want to take a nod to that because, budgets, it's dollars, it's cents, but there's so much more to education than, widgets, dollars, and cents. So I do want to thank, it truly does take a village, and I'm incredibly grateful for it. So I did want to mention that.
Perfect, thank you. All right, at this time, I will open up for public comment on the presentation. Please come up and give your name.
Hi, Betsy. It's not on. Microphone. All right, can you restart the clock, please? Now the microphone's on. All right. Thank you. Betsy Cross, I live in Wall Township. I think this is, my 10th or 11th budget presentation. And this has to be one of the worst. So I just want to mention that. What I do is, and I say this every year, and I had, 10 minutes to go through this because you didn't give anything, a piece of paper, for your first 3 budget meetings. Every other town is having meetings with handouts, going over numbers, and in Wall, we don't get a piece of paper till you show up, and we don't live stream the meetings anymore. I look at the actual numbers in the audit report. That's what you should be giving. So you're putting up here all these pie in the sky, this is what we budgeted in 2021. Nobody cares what you budgeted in 2021. You got to compare your actual, and your actuals are way off. For your regular instruction, you have in here 2021. I don't even know what page it is because God forbid we put page numbers on it to make it easier for people. But you have regular education 2021, $21,942,090. But when I go to your audit report, when the guy was sitting over here, he said you actually spent $22,553,602. So why would you show this number? Special education is way off. You put in $8,707,511, and you spent $10,496,436. And why is special ed going down? These kids need it the most. Why would you be reducing that this year? We're going to reduce it 0.6. How embarrassing. You just talked about you're cutting all these positions. Please, let's not lose any more great special ed people. What are you doing up here? That's the first 2 numbers. That's it. You're off by millions. Transportation, you have in here $5,199,000, but in the audit report it has $3,578,753. So there's another couple $1,000,000 in some other line item. What else? How much are you budgeting for judgments against the school district? I would like that number, and you can give it to me now. How much are you budgeting? This is a question and answer session. I've been doing this 10 years, and I get answers at these meetings. Because if you don't get answers, you can't approve the budget. So please, you're going to have to answer the question or do not vote on this budget. How much is in there for judgments against the school district? Because it's got to be close to 10 million. And what else? Data backup. I hope you have all your data backed up because I'm opening emails and some of them aren't coming back. So I don't know where Mr. Hyam is, but he should be here tonight. Where is he? Maybe on vacation? Like everybody takes vacation days here like it's a holiday all year long. go over how you got to your 1.3% increase. What is that exact calculation? Is that really a 2% raise and you're backing into it? It's really a 2.25% raise for everybody, but you're trying to make it only look like 1%? Go over exactly what that number is. And Joe, I'm sure you've already asked all these questions. You did? Okay, great. So then I'm sure you're going to answer them all. Student count. So in April of 2020, we had 3,406 kids. In 2021, we had 3,300. Student count's going way down. What are you doing to correct this? You keep losing more students. People are going to want you to pay for their kids to go to other schools, right? If they're not safe here, they need to go somewhere else. And then I guess we're down another 42. The high school took the biggest hit, no surprise there. I think they're down 70 students. What else? Go over how much you're budgeting on health insurance, because those numbers are not matching up either.
Thank you, Ms. Cross. Your time is up.
No, there's no,
Is there anybody else for public comment on the budget? Ms. Cross, board policy is 5 minutes.
no, not on a budget presentation of $82 million. That's never happened before, Ralph. You've been here 9 years, you should know that.
It's happened every year. Thank you. Your time is up.
I have more questions, and I want them answered.
You could have accepted the board seat and had all the answers you wanted.
And you could have given me the documents.
Okay, Ms. Cross,
Point
your
of
time is
order.
up. Thank you.
Sitting on the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Cross. Your time is up. Is there anybody else for public comment on the budget this evening?
Resign, Ralph.
Is there anybody else?
Worst
Ms. Cross?
president
Okay,
ever.
thank you.
Thank you.
I'll wait for the Christmas card.
You won't get one.
Is there anybody else?
Good evening, Board. It's been a while since I've been here. Marcus Kirschenbaum, Woodland Avenue. I've been putting in a few Oprahs. And first I asked for the list of consultant professionals for the Wellington Township School District with the rates of pay in the job description. And I get one from the town every year. They have everything on file. The letter I got back says, in response to my request, that the district does not retain a list of consultant professionals, therefore it's not a government record in response to your request.
Mr. Kirschenbaum, is this about the presentation or is this about something else?
This is going to be about the budget.
Okay.
I told them I was trying to figure out who was getting what in the town so I could figure out how much you spent. And after I made the second request, I got a list from 1/15/2020 to 12/23/2020 that you spent $47,383,293.12. Between this, if you were to keep everything the same, I was told it's going to be an $82 million budget next year, which you just said. But when I was asked what I was looking for, I just really was looking for see how everything was spent. And like, how much does the attorney get, the firm, for the year, and how much are they paid? And I was basically told that they really don't keep records like that, and that they felt that the town compiled my list and you do not compile lists, and I didn't ask you to, I just wanted to know what was happening. It's a difference of like over $12 million from 2020 to the budget you're gonna come up next year. And I figured out with the last figure I got for your attorney, it was $145 an hour, and that was a few years ago, before I got sick. And they made $207,000, which I did see, but then they took that paper away from me. I don't know if it was for 2020 or 2021. But if you divide it out, $207,000 is $3,980 in a week. But at $145 an hour, it's $1,427.50 in a year. If you divide that by 52 weeks, they did 27.45 minutes, hours in a week, the board. I'm trying to get figures on actually what is spent above teachers and everyone else you have a record of. And I kind of feel I was belittled in a way, because I was asked 3 times, would I like to know how much the flagpole painter gets in Wall Township? And when someone says something to you, it's not how they mean it. It's how you perceive it. I didn't appreciate it, and it really pissed me off. I don't know if people know that 59% of the school, the taxes in Wall, are for the school system. And it should not be that way. And I think an $82 million budget is ridiculous when you can't find out what everyone is getting paid, like the attorney firm, the accountant firm. I know the township hired Bathgate, Wagner, and Wolf in 2020 when they got rid of Sean Keane. They made $411,000 for 1 year. The President of the United States made $400,000. What does a 38-mile square town need to spend $411,000? And that was just one lawyer. I have 2 pages. So that's my comments for now.
Thank you. Is there anybody else for public comment on the budget? Seeing none, we will close public comment. Mr. Smythe, was there anything that you wanted to address?
The amount budgeted in the account line judgments against the school district is $50,000.
In regards to what Mr. Kirschenbaum was talking about, the board's provided on a monthly basis breakdown of all the accounts and what's budgeted and what's been spent, what's coming up. Is that provided to the public when they're looking for where we stand with everything?
The board secretary's report is an attachment to the agenda each month, which does identify each line account in the budget and how much was appropriated, how much has been spent to date, as well as the bills list, which is attached to the agenda, which identifies all the vendors being paid that month.
Thank you. All right. President's report. We're going to start with our students of the month. For grade 9, we have Hannah Pomernance. Grade 10, Maxim Lin. Grade 11, John McCurry. And grade 12, Angelina Gubenchuk. I'm sorry. Nights of the week, grade 11, Janice Ray. Grade 9, Sebastian Throwbridge. Grade 11, Alexandra Zamaloff. Grade 9, Sophia White. and grade 12, Stephen Stansfield. Students of marking period number 3, for grade 12 in art, Samantha Numergut. Grade 10 for business, Patrick Sina. Grade 10 for English, Matthew Remizovsky. Grade 11, Reagan Larison for family life. Grade 10 for math, Benjamin Sasso. Grade 12 for music, Anthony Dora. Grade 10 for NNDCC, Vincent Manzo. Grade 11 for PE and health, Kaylee Hines. Grade 11 for science, Molly Matre. Grade 10 for social studies, Clara White. Grade 9 for technology education, Alexa DeRocco. And grade 11 for world language, Kayla Gottschalk. I'd also like to acknowledge tomorrow, April 27th, is National Administrative Professionals Day. On behalf of the board, I want to thank all our staff for all the hard work you do. It does not go unnoticed. Certainly the individuals that we have direct contact with who are here, thank you so much for answering questions and everything you do. It's certainly appreciated. And also, May 5th through May 16th is Teacher Appreciation Week. As you know, the teachers are the biggest part of our school system. And on behalf of the Board of Education, I want to say thank you. The community appreciates everything you do. The board certainly appreciates everything you do. Your professionalism over the last 2 years, difficult years, speaks volumes to your dedication to the students and to the district. So thank you, all of you, for everything you do, and our secretaries. And with that, Dr. Hanrahan, good evening again.
Thank you, Mr. Adonisio. And I'd like to start by sharing how thrilled I was to see how many members of our Wall Township Public Schools community wearing blue on Monday, April 4th. That was the kickoff to Autism Acceptance Month. And in case you were unaware, Autism Acceptance Month, its former name was Autism Awareness Month. So I was so excited to see such a positive kickoff. I think I was in several schools that day and I encountered a whole lot of blue. So I just want to thank you for all that supported that initiative. And I would like to go back just a little bit to really thank some of our parent-teacher organizations, because I have to tell you, now that spring has sprung, the amount of activities that are happening for our students throughout the school district, it's amazing. I hope to attend as many as I possibly can. I don't know if my social calendar is that open, to be honest, because there's so many wonderful things that are being planned. And having been a very active PTA parent and fundraising parent, I personally know how much work it takes and what it looks like to have so many gift baskets taking over their dining room, and the amount of cellophane and, you know, all the little basket grass, and I was cookie mom and I was all that kinds of stuff. So it is a tremendous amount of work to put these events together, and I just wanted to stress that. A lot of great things have been happening across the district, and I am beyond proud of the students. And I'm really happy to share some wonderful accomplishments with you this evening. Thomas Lawrence, Monica Kirschenbaum, Maddie Soto, and Samantha Nemergut were honored at this year's Best of Teen Arts reception for their striking drawings. This is a big deal. And I could not have been happier when I heard this. I'm more happy for the students. And additionally, Michelle Gargulio is this year's winner of the Monmouth County Teen Arts Cover Design Contest. I can't tell you how talented Monmouth County is, and this is such a great honor. And Additionally, Michelle's Digital Painting Wonderland, that's the name of it, was chosen to advance to the New Jersey State Teen Arts Festival at Middlesex County College on June 1st. So a huge shout out to Michelle, and it is beyond an honor to have a piece advance to that level, and I just wanted to shine a light on that. Will Krebs, a Wall High School Guitar Club member, he was recognized as a standout at the Monmouth County Teen Arts Festival, and he has been nominated to perform at the State Teen Arts Festival. I certainly would love to hear him play, so Will, if you're listening, I'd love to hear it. And I would be remiss if I did not congratulate the following students for being selected for the All Shore Symphonic Band: Molly Matry, Alana Sabanjian, Rosalind Equivel, Jillian Ludwig, Hudson O'Reilly, Aaron Flanagan, Sienna Rulli, Mackenzie Riley, Quinn Domino, Thomas Fury, Ashlyn Wells, Olive Stockton, Michael Stites, Joseph Buono, Anthony Doria, Jared McLaughlin, Brendan Lee, Charles Clark, and Zachary Nissen. And additionally, congratulations to Giselle Matthews, Nicole DeRocco, Charlie Fowler, James Melzinski, Kendall Amity, Nathaniel Little, Mia Lomanowitz, Mackenzie Cavalieri, and Claire Neese for being selected for the 2002 All Shore Orchestra. If you haven't heard, the Wall High School Delta Club has been busy with the Light the Night for the Shore community. Please join them and other student and community leaders on May 18th from 5 to 8 at Allaire Community Farm. And if you're interested, please visit our website for details. I would also like to thank the Crimson Knights Foundation for honoring alumni and our school nurses at this year's second annual gala for all of their hard work. And it was a wonderful evening, and the Crimson Knights Foundation continues its work supporting our school district by planning a Light Up the Night event for the Wall community at Wall High School on Tuesday, May 31st at 5 p.m. And this is hot off the press. I was just informed that 19 Wall High School students earned awards on the National Latin exam. And forgive me, but they sure know how to carpe diem. I had to. It was there. It was a low piece of fruit. I had to grab it. And I would also like to mention that on tonight's agenda, there is an amendment to the this year's school calendar that is pending tonight's board approval. So with that, I'd like to turn this back to you, Mr. Adonisio.
Thank you, Dr. Handerhan. And just so everybody knows, the Crimson Night event here at Wall High School is KNIGHT, not NIGHT, like the towns. So a little plug to the district. We will move ahead. Any board members have any Board of Education updates? Anything to share? No? Committee reports have been posted online for everyone to see. And we will move on to public comment on any agenda action item. Please come up and give your name for the record.
Betsy Cross, I live in Wall Township. If you could just go over those numbers about how much you've budgeted for your attorney. I think last year you spent $227, but you only budgeted like $125, so it came in double. So Mr. Kirchenbaum brought up a great point. How much did you budget for the attorney for this year? We can't be like Wall Municipal spending $450 and just dragging on lawsuits like you're doing with mine. So it's almost a year now, and I would be sitting up there if Mr. Adonisio, as the board president, hadn't delayed giving all the information and gotten such bad advice from Athena Cornell,
That's
Dennis
not true, Ms.
McKeever,
Cross.
Dennis McKeever,
That's
and
not true.
Anthony Scarillo. So let's just get that on the record.
And on the record,
Okay.
it's not true.
It's on the record, so. I did want to go over The HIB report, we have 18 HIBs. I mean, I just can't believe in a town like Wall, these numbers are just outrageous. I don't know what you're doing. But, I mean, we didn't have all these HIBs when my son was in intermediate school. What is going on? The high school suspension list, Wall Intermediate, we have about 8 people suspended in intermediate school, just for the month of March. What are you doing? Why month after month? Joe, you look like you're confused.
Ms. Cross,
Have you looked
please
at this report?
direct your comments to the chair.
What? Are you concerned? What are you doing about it?
Ms. Cross,
Suspension list in Wall High School, we have 3. We have 1 Saturday detention. You got to get this intermediate school under control. The salaries, holy cow. So now we have 7 people just added that are out on leave, and I'm assuming getting paid, and you don't want to list their names, but most people have figured out who they are. So we have to be paying close to $1 million for people to sit home. Weather's beautiful. It's not counting against the vacation, not counting against your sick. Are you people crazy? You either figure this out and get them back, or get rid of them. We cannot, now we have 11 people out. 11! You're paying over $1 million for people to sit home out of your $82 million. Complete dysfunction. I mean, I hope Mr. Maliff, I think he is our only hope. I really think so. Nobody else up here I have any faith in whatsoever. $50,000 for judgments against the school district, so that means you're going to shove everything over to where Mr. Scarillo was the attorney for your excess fund. And we know how that works. You shove everything over and hide all the numbers. So how much are you planning on shoving over there, I guess is my question, because if you're only budgeting $50,000 because your retention is 50, because we know what happened when we had the yearbook issue, because all that money got shoved and hidden over there. Ralph's sitting up here, we didn't pay anything. Sure we did. It got shoved over to the excess fund, and our insurance rates go up, and Wall is an embarrassment for everything they participate in. So, like I've said the past couple years, Ralph, you will go down as the worst board president in history of Wall. You will.
I'm waiting for my award.
You've already earned it.
Thank you.
Attorney bills. We have spent over $5,000 on one OPA request. And Ms. Stites, it's not mine. So you were complaining about me with
Please
OPA.
address your
Cross.
comments to the chair.
She would complain about my OPA request.
Thank you.
Now you have one from an attorney, I'm guessing. I asked for it to be returned by 3 o'clock and it was not returned. Everybody needs to OPRA 22-026 because there is going to be some important information in there. And I'm guessing it's one of the attorneys. We spent over $5,000 on just that OPRA from Miss Cornell's firm to hurry up and hide everything in there. So $5,928.75 on one OPRA. Your OPRA expenses were $7,967. I mean, this is a disgrace. Like I said, we got subpoenas. Oh my God, subpoena.
Thank you, Ms. Cross. Your time is up.
Subpoena. Your time is up.
And for the record, there is no money hidden, so everybody understands that.
What are you talking about, money hidden? Who said money hidden? Who said money hidden?
You did.
About what? She didn't say that.
Your time is up, Ms. Cross. Please stop yelling out. Please stop yelling out. Please stop yelling out. Good evening. Oops.
Dr. Handerham, members of the Board of Education, my name is Gail Marr, and I am the proud president of the WTEA. I just want to take this opportunity to congratulate Dan Bozak, Barry Bradley, Laura Massaros, Teresa Rose, Stacy Saney, who are on tonight's agenda, and all of those other WTA members that have retired this year or will retire this year. We wish them all the best in their future endeavors. Now, I've never stood up here and talked about somebody that's not WTEA, but I'm going to do it tonight. Mr. Cranston has been here since August. We've had some issues in the past with HR and records and getting things corrected. And we are sad to see him go. It's been such a turnaround in the district on everything he's done. And all I can hope is someday he's going to come back. So I just wanted to thank him.
Is there anybody else for public comment on agenda action items? All right, seeing none, close public comment. This point, could I have a motion for approval of the minutes of the executive session of March 1st, 2022, the special meeting of March 1st, 2022, special meeting minutes of March 8th, 2022, executive session minutes of March 22nd, 2022, business meeting minutes of March 22nd, 2022. Could I have a motion on that? Motion, Mr. Mallett. Could I have a second?
I can second it.
Second, Ms. Hodnett. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Smythe, roll call, please.
Mr. Buffer?
Yes on A, B, and C, abstain on D and E.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Ms. Hodnett?
Yes.
Mr. Mallett?
Yes.
Mr. Nasser?
Yes.
Mr. Sanfilippo?
Yes.
Ms. Stites?
Yes, with the exception of C, abstain on C.
Mr. Edney?
Yes. I'm going to ask for a motion for approval of the first policies. Policy, or I'm sorry, we'll start with Regulation 2460.30, Policy 5751, Regulation 5751, Policy 8465, Regulation 8465, and Policy 9560. Could I have a motion on that?
I'll make the motion.
Motion, Mr. Hall. Could I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Sanfilippo. At this time, any questions, comments on policies? No? Okay. We'll open it up for a public hearing on these policies and regulations.
Bet, the clock's going. Betsy Cross, I live in Wall. I know you made a change to sexual harassment to students. Could you go over what the changes are and why you're implementing them? Was it just a Strauss Esme? If you could go over that, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, the sexual harassment of student policy, we looked at it in February, and at that time, the committee was tasked with basically, you had two ways to structure the policy. One was whether or not the board wanted to use a standard of preponderance of the evidence or clear and convincing evidence. So the board that, talked amongst ourselves, decided to table it for the month and talk to Dr. Hanrahan and to the lawyers and decide, do some research on what most of the other districts in town, in the area were doing. And basically it was decided that we would, change the wording to the policy would be preponderance of the evidence. Irregardless of our policy, there's federal and state statutes that cover this. So sometimes the policy is always lagging behind because a law will come out, and by the time Strauss Esme looks at the law and basically reaches out to us and says, hey, you need to change your policy because the law tweaked something, it's always a couple of month delay. So even though the policy wasn't technically in place until tonight, we were still bound by all the tenets of it from the federal law and the state law. So again, it's really more wording, and it's more kind of like bookkeeping, just to keep it in line so that we're in line with what the federal statutes and the state statutes say. In practice, we're doing it anyway because we're following the law. So is that a solid explanation, Dr. Hanahan? and Mr.
You did a
Corral?
great job, yes, because there were some changes to the federal law in particular that prompted the revision of the policy to include the new requirements, the new Title IX coordinator, written report requirements, and it was left to the district to determine whether it was preponderance of evidence or clear and convincing. And we did seek legal counsel, and we implemented the recommendations from legal counsel.
Okay. Anything else from the board on this? Seeing none. Mr. Smythe, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Ms. Hodnett,
Yes.
Mr. Mallett,
Yes.
Mr. Nasser,
Yes.
Mr. Sanfilippo,
Yes.
Ms. Stites,
Yes.
Mr. Buffa,
Yes.
and Mr. Adenisi.
Yes. This time I'll ask for a motion for approval of the second policy readings for policy 2415.05, 2431.4, regulation 2431.4, policy 2622, regulation 2622, policy 3233, and policy 5460. Could I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Motion, Mr. Hall. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Sanfilippo. Any questions, comments from board members? Seeing none, I will open it up for public hearing on these policies and regulations. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing on that. Mr. Smythe, roll call, please.
Ms. Hodnett,
Yes.
Mr. Mallett,
Yes.
Mr. Nasser,
Yes.
Mr. Sanfilippo,
Yes.
Ms. Stites,
Yes.
Mr. Buffa,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Mr. Adenisi.
Yes. This time I will ask for a motion to table,
What?
oh, I'm sorry.
Do 12 first. Put the motion on the floor.
Okay. Could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, number 12, 13, encompasses number 12, 13, 14?
12A. Item 12A, consent agenda.
12, okay.
Includes all items.
All right. 12A, which includes all consent agenda. Could I have a motion on that?
I'll make that motion.
Could I have a second?
I'll second.
Second. No. Okay. And at this time, could I have a motion to table on the HR report, which is 14A, number 18?
I'll make that motion.
Motion, Mrs. Stites. Could I have a second? Second, Mr. Mallett. Any questions, comments? Seeing none. Mr. Smythe, roll call on the second one, correct?
On the table.
Yes.
Mr. Mallett,
Yes.
Mr. Nasser,
Yes.
Now.
Mr. Sanfilippo,
Yes.
Ms. Stites,
Yes.
Mr. Buffa,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Ms. Hodnett,
No.
Mr. Adenisi.
Yes.
Okay, motion to table.
Okay. And now roll call on the consent agenda, please.
Okay, any questions or comments on?
Yeah. I think we did. Any questions, comments on the consent agenda? Seeing none, Mr. Smythe, roll call.
Yeah. Mr. Nasser,
Yes.
sorry. Mr. Sanfilippo,
Yes.
Ms. Stites,
Yes.
Mr. Buffa,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Ms. Hodnett,
Yes, with the exception of number 6, number 16, number 23. No, I'm sorry, number 6, number 16, number 20.
You abstaining?
Oh, I have to say that. Yes, I'm abstaining.
As a clarification, you're abstaining on item 14A.
Oh, do you want me to, so in 14, I'll go through them. I'm sorry, I wrote down the numbers.
Just as a clarification, it's under 14A on the HR report.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Item 16 and the other one was under item 15.
That's correct.
Please stop yelling out. Please stop yelling out. This is a business meeting of the Board of Education. It's not for you to yell out. Thank you.
Mr. Maliff?
Yes, I will be abstaining on number 15, number 7, and also number 17.
Thank you.
Point of
Please
order.
stop yelling out. Please stop yelling out.
Mr. Adenizio?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Smythe. All right. This time, public comment on any school district issues. Please come up to the microphone and state your name for the record.
Good evening, Lisa Adam. I live in Township. I've been a really active volunteer in this town and district since 2006, 2007. And I've always been a huge fan of this district and a strong supporter of this board, and I always will be. But I wanted to come talk tonight about something that I'm seeing in the district, and especially in the high school, that makes me very sad. So I have a 2020 graduate, a current senior, and a current freshman at the high school. So COVID took a lot away from my 2020 graduate, but I promise you, there's nothing we can do, and she's totally fine. My current senior, their class has lost a lot also, but they're getting ready to move on to their next chapter. I just feel like at this point, we've kind of given up on them, and I don't mean we like you, I just mean as a whole. I didn't grow up here, but I married a wall boy through and through. My husband bleeds crimson and blue, or crimson and white, because when it goes navy, he gets a little angry. So my husband has enough pride in this town to go for days. And it's one of the things that drew me here when I moved here. School spirit and a sense of community larger than I had ever known. My school didn't have anything near the pride that he had when he spoke about this district. And I was excited to move here. But I think COVID was hard. And somewhere along the line, I think we lost that spirit. We've taken the easy way out, I feel like, on a lot of things. And, you know, right when we think we're going to bounce back, we have a really rough fall, and we can all agree on that. And as a district, as a whole, it impacted the student body terribly. And I don't think people realize how much these kids have lost. These kids, from something as small as something called a triple threat club, which is just a sport that they play at school, the advisor was a gym teacher that was put on leave. Those kids look forward to that, and no one took the time to step up and take over. I know that seems small, but it's their senior year, and they look forward to that. It's just a club, but it was important. The senior scholarship dinner was such a huge event. Now it's in the auditorium with a slideshow, and that's embarrassing. As someone whose family gives a scholarship from our nonprofit that we are really, really proud of, we can do better. We are so grateful for the organizations that present our students with scholarships. That means so much to them. And I feel like they deserve the right to come to that dinner and present that scholarship. And I think the kids that took the time to write that essay should be able to stand up and accept that honor individually. I know my family, we work hard, and we want to honor the child that deserves that award. And I feel like, how much longer are people going to give scholarships if we don't give them the honor of presenting it to the recipient? The Renaissance Luncheon. It was a luncheon in this cafeteria where students were honored for their academic achievements. For some kids, this is what they strive for. Everyone doesn't play a sport. Perfect attendance, honor roll, student of the week, student of the month, night of the week. The top 10, that was all announced in this room. It's gone. I understand COVID took it away, but we're back. It has to come back. It doesn't make sense to me that we can't do these things because it might be easier not to, and I don't think that's fair. Relay for Life, a huge community event. Everyone in this room knows as much as I do, we could really use a sense of community. You know, maybe we've gotten lazy. Maybe it was easy to say COVID, but COVID's gone. I want my son's senior spring to be amazing because I want him and his classmates, and they deserve that. I want my freshmen to spend the next 3 years proud of this school. I don't want him to feel like he does right now. I don't want to talk to him about thinking about transferring ever again. I don't want to have that conversation again. I want him to have as much pride and spirit in this school as his dad and his sister and his brother. His siblings used to beam. He never got that. I'm coming to you as a Board of Ed to help. Anyone that knows me knows I don't stand up and complain about a problem if I'm not willing to help fix it. I am willing to help fix it, and there's a lot of parents that feel the same way I do. I'm willing to put in the work because we cannot continue on this trajectory. We cannot afford it as a community. So we have to stand up and fix what we've lost. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kelly Rotsma, I live in Wall. After coming to meetings in person and watching via live stream in the past, I have been wanting to speak during public comment, but I've been struggling to find the right words. Those of you who know me know that I am a very positive, glass-half-full person. I look for the best in people, and I strive to be kind, empathetic, and generous. Wall Township Public Schools have been wonderful to my daughter, who is a sophomore and will be a third-generation Wall High School graduate. I am proud to live in Wall, and I am grateful for my daughter's education. All of the teachers, some of which are here tonight, staff, administrators along the way, have been so supportive and continue to give all of the tools she needs for success, along with essential problem solving and conflict resolution skills, both academically and emotionally, which are crucial in the real world. She has a learning disability and wants to be a teacher so she can, in her words, help kids like her. You don't have to be an honor student or a star athlete to find success in Wall, and my daughter cannot wait until her senior walk to personally thank her teachers, staff, and educators who have guided her on her educational journey. However, outsiders looking in probably have a different picture of Wall. Our students are stressed, our educators are stressed, and our parents are stressed. Our district is not the only one struggling to move forward post-pandemic, but unfortunately, our recent challenges have made local, state, and national headlines. From what I read on social media and over here in public, our critics seem to be reveling in our struggles. I wish that Dr. Handerhand's emails to our high school and intermediate staff, students and parents advising of the acting principal serving while Ms. Zerchio and Mrs. Embaum are on leave would have stayed private among those who receive them rather than being shared with the press. Not because I want to sweep anything under the rug, but because I'm tired of yet another "look what's happening in Wall," followed by nasty comments and personal attacks. We don't know why they are on leave, but the rumor mill is in full force and effect. There are so many I have heard stories out there, most of which are nasty, ruthless, hurtful, and mean, which serve only to further fuel the fire of negativity. Whether they are personal attacks against staff members or ongoing criticism of our Board of Education or superintendent, our town is fighting within itself and is creating a toxic environment. Our kids deserve better, and I implore the members of our community to hold off on passing any judgment and to think back to what many of our parents told us: if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. The truth will come out, it always does. But all of this negativity is exhausting and unhealthy for our children. I've been jotting down, notes over the last few weeks trying to come up with the right words. I want Wall to move forward. I want us to work together and be proud of our town. My thoughts have been all over the place, and I honestly didn't know where to start. As luck would have it, this morning, the Wall Patch posted Wall High School's rank to the U.S. News and World Report based on graduation rates, academics, and other factors. Wall is rated 138th best high school in New Jersey. I did a quick Google search and found that there are 866 high schools in New Jersey, which places us in the top 16th percentile. Nationally, according to the report, Wall ranks 3,405th out of nearly 24,000, excuse me, which puts us in the top 15 percentile. Clearly, we are doing something right, but I am not surprised by that. Above and beyond our academics are our children's talents, which are being nurtured by our schools. Just look at our website, as Dr. Hanrahan alluded to before. At the high school, you'll see some of our musicians being selected to the Shore Orchestra, All Shore Symphonic Band, our students' artworks on display. Our student body participated in charitable events such as Shake It Up for St. Jude. Our wrestling team also participated in a fundraiser for Emmanuel Cancer Foundation, which raised $10,000 just to name a few events. As a parent attending parent advisory meetings regularly at the high school, I'm amazed of all the hard work and dedication of our teachers, staff, and administration. Our students have lost so much during the pandemic and have been distracted by the stress of recent events. Mrs. Sergio and all of her staff have been promoting a moving forward atmosphere while keeping the needs of our students at the top of the list. I wish more parents attended the parent advisory meetings to see what I see. I know that morning meetings may be difficult, but we often repeat presentations and share information during our PTO meetings, which are held in the evening, but also haven't been well attended. As far as I'm concerned, if Ms. Sergio, Dr. Hanrahan, and our Board of Education are blamed for all things bad in Wall, they deserve to be credited for all the good. While there is always room for improvement, in my opinion, being ranked in the 16th top percentile in the state and the top 15th percentile nationally are accomplishments we should all be proud of. Thank you, Ms. Sergio, Dr. Hanrahan, and all members of the Board of Education. I know it hasn't been easy. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else for public comment?
Mark Kirschbaum, Wall Township. In regards to the Oprahs I put in, and Mr. Smythe said where I could find them, I told the woman in his office, you know, when I was a kid, you can get any TV you wanted as long as it's black and white and it was a 9-inch Philco. I'm not really a computer expert. What I was given after I asked for that was the meetings for April, May, and June of 2019, May and June of 2020, and July of 2021. And these were Board of Education meeting minutes. But they don't have the information I want. They may say some staff member gets $25 an hour, or the petty cash fund. What I'm looking for is the actual figures. I was also told that we wouldn't have to pay $207,000 to the school board attorney if people didn't put in Oprahs. When I came to my first school board meeting, 95% of the people were against something. And then the board listened to them, they voted, and they voted, all the people wanted you to do was table it, and you didn't do it. So after the meeting, I saw one last guy, his name was Mr. Brophy, and I asked him if 95% of the people they just table it. I said, why did the board go against him? He said, the people can come to the meeting, the people can talk, but the board has all the power and makes all the decisions. And we basically don't matter. you know, if most people don't know, well, most people know that your property tax pays for your schools. But we send, for every dollar we send to the federal government, we get 78 cents back, which means we give $25 billion a year extra in the state of New Jersey. Whereas, and you know what the dependency rate is from the federal government on the state of New Jersey? It's 0. We're the only one that has that. If you live in New Mexico, the population is 2 million. Our population is 8.8 million. If you took the first 10 biggest states, we will be number 11 in population. And we're the most densely populated state and one of the smallest. New Mexico, for every dollar they give to the federal government, they get $4.33 back. And they're 100% dependent. I don't know how they get this formula, but New Jersey, can you think if you got some of that $25 billion back for the schools, what it would do for people's property taxes? And property taxes, when they revalued the town, we're under Chapter 123. Then they went to the Monmouth County Assessment Demonstration Board. There's 33 non-usable codes in the state of New Jersey. And if you go to any town, county, or state official, you get told from October 1st the previous year to October of the next year, you can get your comps. What most people don't realize is they rigged the system. The towns and the boards and companies that do the reassessments get 3 years to go back. I've had fights with Matthew Clark, Chris Christie in person. I've spoken to Kim Gardago when she was running for governor, and Paul Murphy. And you know what? Nobody cares how much we pay in property taxes. If for the year 2021, Wall Township, the average is 90.23. The lower is 76.70. And the upper limit is 103.76. That means somebody here in this room is paying 76.70% on their property tax. And I'll let you in on a little secret. You cannot fight your taxes. You can fight the assessment of your property. I went to a lot of the meetings. The boards just lie to the people. And the tax attorney, Matt O'Donnell, that was supposed to help the people, he's in jail because he was in a pay-for-play scheme, and no one ever told the people of the town. But my time is up. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
Mary Connors, Wall Township. I just have a couple notes that I made during the superintendent's report and a couple other personal items. I don't know who to address this to, but for busing for spring sports, a lot of matches and practices have been canceled recently because there's no drivers and buses for the athletes. And on one occasion, they told us we could drive our athletes ourselves, which we did, but we had to rush to get a paper form filled out and signed and back to the athletic director. I was wondering if that paper form could be like a Google Doc that we could get online so that as soon as we get the call that there's no bus, that it could just be done, and then we could come get our student, take them to the sporting event, and then bring them home without having to, run through the school. In addition, if we could drive other athletes in our car, could that be added to an online Google form so that a parent could give us permission by maybe supplying a driver's license or a birth date or a social security number or whatever needs to make it legal so we could drive another athlete if that athlete's parent's not available to take them to the game. And then I'm just assuming this is all because of the low number of CDL drivers, and this may not be a problem in the fall, but it's certainly a problem right now. In addition to that, I'm going to express my support in professional development and staff orientation. We all know that if you put and this sounds negative, but it's actually a positive. If you put the customer second and you put the employee first, you have a happier customer. So look at the students as your customer, look at your staff as your asset or your number one. And if you make your assets happy, then your customer's happy. So the more you charge a teacher, the more enthused they'll come into school and the happier your student will be. So, you know, wherever you could give professional development or kudos or better orientation and get them ready for their job, anything you could do for staff only helps our students. I'm happy to hear that mathematics will be a focus. Since I started attending parent-teacher breakfasts at the middle school, I've often noticed our mathematic numbers are below average for par schools, or how they, you know, like our comparison schools, I think is what they said, which upset me because I have mathematical mind students. So I'm happy to hear that mathematics will be on the forefront. In addition, I'm still looking for assemblies on the high school level for student harassment, bullying, and safety. And I haven't seen any assemblies, or haven't heard of any. I know we've had some great assemblies in the middle school. I forget the name of the company, but they came in and they really charged up the students. Does anybody remember the name of that?
Lead You.
And I actually went to the parent presentation, and it was exceptional. It may be a little hard to do on the high school level, or maybe roll it out, but it was really good. And my husband and I actually left enthused. So if two old adults that are older than dirt can leave, you know, at 8 o'clock at night, enthused about sending our school the next day, I think the students would actually really get from it. And that was on the middle school level, and I'd like to see it in the elementary and the high school, or something similar if you can't get that same product. And then, I don't know the mom that spoke about bringing back athletic dinners and athletic award recognition. But my daughter's a sophomore, and she was handed her varsity letter when she was getting on a bus this year for last year. And because there was just nothing for them. And I said, you know, how did you earn this? What did you earn this? Or what's going on? And she's like, oh, well, we don't have a dinner or a recognition, so he just handed it to me. And, you know, like, I felt bad for her because it was her first recognition as an athlete. Like someone said, not all students are athletes. When they find their drive, it's good for them. But you want to actually encourage them to continue. And if somebody's academically driven, there should be some kind of recognition breakfast or lunch or something to that effect for them, because we know as employers, when our employers gives us a kudos, how it makes us produce more. Same thing for students. If you give them kudos, then they work harder. So I'd like to see those things brought back, and thank you for the mom for bringing that to my attention.
Thank you.
Joseph DeLuca. I didn't hear him talk about the buses. I didn't talk about the buses. Last meeting, they were talking about the buses being late picking up the kids. So I watched the bus go by my house, and it turns off at 18th Avenue, and it picks up 2 students on 5th and 1 on 2nd, and it heads up to Spring Lake and drops them off at St. Catherine's. Then it parks on the ocean front for 20 minutes. Doesn't move. Then I follow the bus, and it goes on 71 heading towards Manasquan. Okay? I lose the bus because she's going too fast. Okay? So the busing issue, we're busing students to Spring Lake, and then the bus is sitting on Ocean Avenue in Spring Lake for 20 minutes, and students on World and 18th Avenue that go to the middle school, that bus goes right by them. And they're standing there an extra 25 minutes, and they're going to our school. Bus goes right by them. I don't hear anyone talk about how they improve the busing. But if we make it for the high school students, they have to get to the bus stop 15 minutes earlier at the farthest bus distance to the high school. That would alleviate the problem of being short bus drivers. But no one does a job. No one's out there. No one's on the road watching. They sit in offices. You got to be out there on the street. The bus sat 20 minutes. Then it went to Manasquan. I lost it on 71. It made a right. I got stopped behind a light and a couple cars. It made a right. I don't know where it ended up. I went back to the yard and wanted to see if the bus came to the yard. I stayed there for 20 minutes. The bus never entered to the yard. This bus is riding around. We got $82 million. We're going to spend $1.5 million outside in the parking lot. Let's fix the structures. The seniors don't have to come to school. The buses pick them up. We don't need a parking lot. We should park our buses out here. Save money. Fix the structures. West Belmar School is disgusting on the outside. The lighting here is horrible. The bathroom down the hall there that I went to, it's disgusting inside. There's no law that the seniors can drive to school. So you're going to spend on the parking lot. It's ridiculous. You got to fix the structure. It's going to cost us a lot more money. I mean, right now, salaries and benefits, there's no money to fix these buildings. You have a water issue in the back here. Those fields are sopping wet. The water doesn't drain. Now we have a monitor for the monitor in the locker rooms. How is that working out? I'd like to know, you mentioned about something about you needed a female because of the females, but how many coaches are males that coach the girls in this high school? How many coaches are males? The coaches should monitor the room. We got to fix these buildings. These kids learn in the building. They don't learn in that parking lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else for public comment?
Good evening, I'm Kathleen Duran from Wall. The first thing I just wanted to mention was on the agenda tonight, there was the harassment, intimidation, and bullying report. And there's a series of numbers in the middle column that looks like, for example, the first one's 0309-2022. I am seeking clarification if that's the date of incident that the alleged harassment occurred, or is it the date of report? Going by the dates that are all listed here, it looks like it just covers a 1 month period, 30-day period. I don't know who's at the wheel for watching this, but over half the incidents of harassment are taking place at the middle school. And as I've told this board many times over the past 5 years, my son was severely beaten here in the middle school, and it was found to be non-HIB. And despite my offer of showing everyone the pictures of the bruises, and DIFUS and the police were all involved. However, the leader of the children who beat my son was Aaron Embaum's son. So nothing happened. And it was found to be non-HIB. So leaving aside my complaints for the past 5 years about how you define HIB, this is an outrageous amount of HIB in a 30-day period, with over half them at the middle school, especially because they just had this lead you. There's a real disconnect here. If you're giving the extra education and going the extra step, these kids are harming each other. Almost all of this is unauthorized touching of each other, which is exactly what it was in my son's case. Unauthorized touching can be actually beating someone, or it could just be bumping somebody in the hall. I understand, but this is an outrageous number. I'd really like to know the context. Is this more than other years? Is this more than other school districts? I'll be comparing it. I mean, my job's Title IX. I travel all over the country. This is what I do. I go to colleges, and now they're all schools, as you guys all know, all schools are desperate for experts like me to come in and talk Title IX. And they all are required under federal law to hire somebody who knows what they're doing under Title IX. So I'm getting a lot of contacts from schools right now, but when I see something like this coming out of my district, I get appalled. This is a lot. And I guess, Ms. Handerhan, it's directed primarily towards you, because I don't know who's driving this particular bus, but I think there's something alarming going on. Second, on the Oprah request, you had a budget, the budget that was put together tonight, and it has a whole bunch of Oprah stuff on it. In particular, on page 2 of 3, when it looks at I'm looking at the February bills that were received in the business office. There's a whole bunch for Oprah number 22-026. I'd just like to know which Oprah that is, like who filed it, basically. I'm just looking to see who it is, because I noticed that the expenses are just about to hit $6,000 in just 2 weeks. That's a tremendous amount of money in a very short period of time. I know they're not Betsy Cross's, so I'd like to know who they are, especially because Betsy Cross is vilified for filing Oprahs, and we have another Oprah going on here that's quite significant, and I'd like to know what it's about and what it's for. Last, Ms. Cornell, I've been absent for several months now from attending the meetings, but I had asked prior to going out for my injury whether anyone could explain to me how your firm saw fit to publish the picture of a minor child, namely Donnie Nicola, in your brief that was on the e-courts filing system for Betsy Cross's Oprah litigation. The child was a minor. The child's picture, I wanted to know, it was not the use of it and the dissemination of it further dissemination of it into the public was not authorized by the parents. We know that. And I personally had asked the law firm to take it down, or there'd be potential legal consequences that I didn't know why you would want to expose the board or your firm to. I still am looking for an answer as to who gave that picture to the law firm, who authorized the use of that child's picture as part of a legal brief, and why it was then replicated 4 more times, even with me standing up here saying, you know, no one's paying for my advice, but you really might want to look at this. You're publishing a child's picture without parental authorization. And if you want to look at me and tell me why, that would just be great, because I just really want to know why, and why you think it was okay for your firm to publish it and republish it over parental and public objection. That's it. Do I get any answers tonight, Ralph, or is this just another piss in the wind for me?
We're not going to talk about pending litigation.
I don't need you to talk about pending litigation.
Well,
I want to know who gave the picture to the law firm and why they used it. There's no litigation about it.
I don't know that answer.
I was on the court hearings. I mean, I was on the court hearings when the law firm looked so ridiculous, telling the judge that
Thank
we're
you,
only
Mr.
going to
Your time is up.
and we're only going to take it down if we have a judge's.
Is there anybody else for public comment? Seeing,
Yeah, if Ms. Cornell could answer that question. I know, Ralph, you've asked her to answer it before. So Kathleen has missed a number of meetings, so if you could go over it again, Ms. Cornell, so we could have it on the record of why you used his picture. So there's some new people here. I think they'd like to hear it. Mr. Hall, you're shaking your head. I would like Ms. Cornell.
Ms. Cross, please address the chair.
Okay, Mr. Hall, you can address Mr. Adonisio, and he can go over why they used his picture. I'd like it on the record, and like Kathleen said, who gave it to the law firm, who gave the law firm legal advice, who decided to put it in, and the superintendent was asked by Lester Richens why you did it, and you told Mr. Richens you had no idea why it was included. How could you be the superintendent of schools and not know what this law firm is doing with all these lawsuits going on? So people have to be very afraid that if you don't like the family, you're going to target them and you're going to put their picture
Ms. Cross,
out
that's
there.
not true.
So Ms. Cornell can go on the record and tell us why she used the picture. She said it because it was in the public domain. So she can go on the record again tonight. I will give her my...
You just did, Ms. Cross. You just
No,
answered
I'd
it.
like her to say it.
You just answered.
No, I'd like her to say it. Those were her words, not my words.
Well, you just said them.
I know, they're not.
Okay.
It's not legal.
All right.
Ask Ms. Cornell, Mr. Adonisio,
Ms.
to
Cross, please
go
continue.
over-
This is just public comment.
go over why she used the picture. You got 3 minutes and 19 seconds, Ms. Cornell. I'll stand here until, you go over that again. You've
Ms.
gone
Cross,
on
do
the
you
record.
have, do you have anything else this evening?
I'm going to give her my time so she can go over
No,
why she
that's
used
not,
this picture.
That's not how it works, Ms. Cross. Do you have anything else this evening?
You've gone over it before. Ms. Cornell, can you please go over why you used Mrs. Cross's son's picture? So
Ms.
do it
Cross, do you have
tonight.
anything else?
What, you don't want to do it tonight, Ralph? Because you know you weren't allowed to use it?
Do you have anything else,
Do
Ms.
you
Cross?
know who gave that picture to
All
the
right,
law
thank you,
firm?
Ms. Cross. Your time is up.
No, it's not up. I
It
have
is
2
up.
minutes and 41 seconds.
No, it
Mr.
is up. Thank you,
Adonisio,
Ms. Cross. Is there anybody else for public comment this evening? Is there anybody else for public comment? Okay. Seeing none, we will close public comment. Any board? Go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. Handerham. Okay. Any board members have anything? Any board members have anything? Mr. Smythe, did you have anything you wanted to add? No? Dr. Handerhan?
Thank you, Mr. Adonisio. I would like to take this opportunity to have an early welcome to an individual that was on the HR agenda for this evening's board meeting, and it is our new assistant superintendent in charge of curriculum and instruction. That she will begin her post on July 1st, and her name is Miss Jennifer McCann, and she's with us tonight, and I just wanted to extend warm wishes to her and how excited I know I am working with you, and how you will absolutely be a fixture at these meetings. So welcome so much.
At this time, I will ask for a motion to go back into executive session for letters A, D, G, and H on the agenda. We will be adjourning from executive session. No other action will be taken by the board. Could I have a motion on that?
I'll make the motion.
Motion, Mr. Sanfilippo. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Nazar. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.